Because I think that all of you understand very well that if you want to grow a business, it doesn't matter which type of business. I mean, we are talking about a software as a service, but even if you want to grow a service-based business, you need to measure. I mean, to be able to double on the things that are working for you. Now, the thing is that you cannot double on something if you don't understand what you need to measure. And that's what we are going to tackle in this video. Especially if you have a service-based business. I mean, if you provide services for people and you want to turn this service into a software as a service, this is very important because this is the change that you need to make to be able to measure the things that are important for you and not waste your time with vanity metrics. I would recommend you to stay until the end of this video because this is literally one of the most important things that you need to know when you are building an app. Because literally, I mean, without this, you are building blind. You are building blindly because you don't understand where to double down. I mean, you will be wasting your efforts. If it's the first time that you are watching me, my name is Justo. I'm in a process of creating 12 apps in 1 year, and I recently launched the 5th app. Now I'm building the 6th one with a team. I created a system that lets me design, develop, and test applications in less than 3 weeks so I can start learning from the users and create apps that are aligned with the audience or with the users. So why measuring everything is a polite way to avoid deciding. If you already run a service, if you already have clients, if you are thinking about turning that into a software as a service, your problem is probably not a lack of data. It's too much data and zero conviction. You are measuring like to feel safe, okay? Not to move forward. I see this pattern constantly. The experienced founder trap. This is not beginner behavior. This happens to experienced service founders. You already know how to execute. You already know how to deliver value, and you already know how to make money. So when software as a service enters the picture, you think, let's be smart, let's measure everything before we decide. Sounds, reasonable, but in reality, it creates paralysis, okay? Because measuring everything lets you delay saying no to the things that you needed to say no. Measuring is not deciding. It's not deciding, and since it's not designing, it's not progress. I mean, deciding is progress because it lets you move forward. You can have a clear dashboards, weekly reports, cohorts, panels, retention curves, and still be stuck in the exact same place because none of those force hard code. This is where many people misunderstand the high growth book. If you enter Post or Google Analytics or any of the applications that you can use to measure your app, you will see 1000 metrics, but none of those metrics will necessarily help you grow your business. Grow your software as a service. The only thing that you need to measure, or the most important thing, then you can have like 3 or 4 more metrics. Okay, when I'm building a software as a service for a client, I usually add the core metric, okay, the activation rate metric, and then 3 or 4 more core ones. And this is what I'm going to explain you. Okay, as I was telling you, growth is not about more metrics necessarily. It's about one metric that dominates the system. One metric that forces trade-offs, invalidates options, make some ideas impossible to justify. If your metrics allow everything to stay alive, you're not doing growth. Because you are letting your team add more features. You already know how adding more feature ends. When you start building the app without aligning the app with your audience and with the users of your app. A good metric forces you to say no to many things. A good metric is restrictive. It creates tension. It kills options because it lets you focus on one specific thing, okay? That is growing your app, okay? Service founders have a unique problem typically. You already can do many things. Custom flows, edge cases, high-touch support, manual fixes. So when you start measuring, you end up tracking multiple use cases, multiple customer types, multiple paths. And the software as a service never crystallizes because deep time you're avoiding the decision. What is the product not going to be? Without a data cut, you don't have a software as a service that is growing. You have a service with a UI. A lot of people use metrics okay, as emotional anesthesia to reduce anxiety, replace a judgment, delay uncomfortable conversation. Instead of asking, can this work without me? Is this really repeatable? Will someone get a value add-on? So what you need to ask yourself when you are adding the metrics, the real questions are: what decision are we avoiding? What are we afraid to kill? What part of the service are we protecting emotionally? Only after answering those questions, the right metric becomes obvious. The core metric is not sign-ups, time in application, feature usage. Because think about this for a minute. Depending on the application that you are building, a different metric can be more or less important to you. Think about Airbnb. You won't enter, Airbnb every single day, unless you are, I don't know, someone that travels the world constantly. But otherwise, you will enter the app, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a year, no more than that. So if Airbnb measures how many times the users enters the app, is completely useless. It's not worth it, and is not teaching them anything about the users of their app. So what you need to do is ask yourself how the user gets value in the app, and how can I measure that? I will give you an example. For example, Gmail, when it was starting out, the core metric or the most important thing was seeing or paying attention if the users were sending the first email. Okay, if the users were sending emails, then it was, the app was working. Otherwise, it wasn't. So when someone comes to me and tells me I'm measuring everything, but it's not a moving, my read is usually simple. You haven't decided what kind of software as a service this is yet, okay? Or how the client or how the user gets the value in the app. And no amount of analytics will fix that. Software as a service clarity doesn't come from adding more tools. It comes from constraints. So I really hope this video helped you. And if this helped you, you would also help me a lot if you subscribe to the channel and you hit the like button, because in that way we can keep reaching new people. If you want me to help you one-on-one building an app, the only thing that you need to do is book a call. I will leave you the link on the comment section, and I will turn your idea into a working software as a service in just a couple of weeks. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.